I definitely say it depends. I've had exes where I was fine within a couple weeks, and then there's exes that it took me forever and a day. So I
Why?
think it's just, um, I don't know. It just took forever and a day to get over. Um,
What
think
but
happened?
yeah,
What happened in the case of those couple weak ones, though?
I got under somebody.
I applied makeup to hide his face tattoos, and he got a good paying job as an instructor. Leslie, parentheses, his girlfriend slash baby mama, never did anything for him, but he refuses to leave her. Leslie posts their big-headed, ugly-ass kid on social media and brag about how she prayed for her man to turn his life around, and he did it, and look at God. While it's been
Not looking.
I think I was oblivious to it because, our family is the rainbow. But our family is a bunch of women who they taught us to help each other and help the next person. So I think having the women in our family who teach us that and then go out in the world and see that it's not the same way, it's kind of like a, what? I'm not used to this.
Hey, ladies, welcome to the lounge. Alex Amber, I am Shawan.
Hey.
And I have a question, y'all. I mean, we're just gonna get right into it today. And I'm wondering, I was talking to a friend the other evening, and we were talking about exes, meaning, someone we were with prior to, now. Or if there's a situation where someone becomes your ex and they've moved on, what would you need to feel okay about that partner, that ex partner moving on?
okay. One, before I answer this, how long has it been since we broke up that he moved on?
I don't have an answer for that. So I mean, if you have,
Okay,
if that's an issue, just go explain yourself.
yeah, I feel like it would depend on how long our breakup was for him to move on. Obviously, if you moved on within like a week, I'm gonna have some questions I need to address with you. Secondly, what caused our breakup? That's another depending factor. And three, how did you meet her? Like all these three things are factors for me on depending on how to move on.
I have one big factor,
What's your big factor?
and that would be how the relationship was before we broke up. Would I even give a damn if they moved on?
That's what I said. Like, what happened in the relationship?
Okay, yeah,
Those
I
are
would. That's the only factor I think that would, because I'm probably going to feel some type of way
because,
either
like,
way.
me, again, like, if you moved on within like a week, I'm automatically going to assume question number three: how did you meet her? You met her while you were with me, for one, and
Right?
then especially if we had like a great relationship, and all of a sudden you just want to break up. Yeah, then that's going to be another thing because what all of a sudden made you want to break up? We're doing good in my eyes.
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
Amber,
I definitely say it depends. I've had exes where I was fine within a couple weeks, and then there's exes that it took me forever and a day. So I
Why?
think it's just, I don't know. It just took forever and a day to get over. Um,
I
What
think
but
happened?
yeah,
What happened in the case of those couple weak ones, though?
I got under somebody.
There you go.
I feel
That's
like
what makes it. Because I was going to say that's another thing. If I already had something lined up, or a big one for me, which made it okay was you really wasn't getting much in the first place, sis.
Pretty
The other
much.
one, like just
It,
good.
it
Have
was
fun with that.
we was cool, but I don't think there was no emotional connection. So the ones that I did have some struggles with, there was like emotional ties.
Mm-hmm.
right.
And those were the ones that we're difficult. But if I have no emotional ties and it's just physical, I'm good.
Yeah.
I think we cling on to the good memories, and that's what makes us so hard to like let go.
Yeah, and we forget about the very reasons that we end up ending the relationship in the first place.
Right.
But I think a lot of the reasons why I would be okay with my ex moving on, I think they're all rooted in pettiness. Number one, you ain't really getting much. Have fun with that, because I guess you thought you was really getting something, sis. I'm good. Who they're getting with? Yeah.
That definitely.
Yeah, you really brought yourself down with that one there, guy. And that one just made me feel great. And if I was already getting stuck by something else tremendous, that would make it better.
Yeah, and like not to sound cocky or nothing, but like you're gonna have to go with a hell of a woman to really upgrade from me. So
I'm here, sis.
And I think once I find out that relationship is not really working out, I really feel great.
yeah. But women,
It's all
we
petty.
check
It's all
out
petty.
way before men check out in relationships. So
We
You
do.
think so?
I definitely think so.
I think we check out
So why do we end up staying?
Because
comfortability.
that, and we're constantly waiting for them to do that change. That stuff that we nagged them about, we're waiting for them to do that little, but clearly they're not. That's why we already checked out. So we're just waiting for that one little strong mishap. We out the door.
I think that's a negative. We're not waiting on the one little strong mishap, because a lot of us stay past a lot of strong mishaps and just keep putting up with the same
But
stuff
again,
over and
that's
over
why
and over
we
again.
put up with it. But once we check out, we are checked out. A man can keep doing and doing and doing him, but he's still, I'm committed in this relationship. No, you're not.
Unless the woman cheat, they might, after that they feel like they can't go on living. Yeah.
At all.
But they can cheat, but you cheat, that's the end of the world.
They'll be over there curled up.
Right. Sucking their thumb, calling their mama.
So seriously, so I don't know. I think I don't. I think we hang out a little bit longer than we should.
And we do a lot. We do a lot. And that's why I think we also check out too, because we put so much into it. So finally, when we really realize that we're not getting nothing in return, we're done. We're mentally done. We're exhausted.
So the way we end up surviving in the relationships is passive aggressiveness.
Yes.
Yeah. Or just being passive. Depends on who you are in the situation. Either way, it's not healthy. So I don't know. I just thought it was a fun conversation. We can get a little deeper. Go ahead.
Kind of brings me into my Ask the Fam.
Ask the Fam. Am I going to enjoy these?
I think so.
Because I want you to step it up. I've been waiting all week. Go for it.
The first one is, I met JB when he was detained at my police station.
Stop. See, JB, that's always a problem. Go ahead.
His name.
You ever met somebody named JB?
I have, and he was a whole problem.
Problematic. Just because what is it short for? What is it short for? Jesse what?
She didn't say.
It's already suspect. It's already left. Right. And then he got detained. Go ahead.
Right. Okay, so I met JB when he was detained at my police station. I've been fighting for him for 3 years. He's a good man, a lump of coal that I loved and pressured into a diamond. He used to be a scammer. I encouraged him and paid for his tuition for him to get his CDL license. I trained him to interview properly. I applied makeup to hide his face tattoos, and he got a good paying job as an instructor. Leslie, parentheses, his girlfriend / baby mama, never did anything for him, but he refuses to leave her. Leslie posts their big-headed, ugly-ass kid on social media and brag about how she prayed for her man to turn his life around, and he did it, and look at God. While it's been
Thank God.
Well, well, it has been me doing the work to change him. I gave him an ultimatum: break up with Leslie or lose my number. I refuse to be his secret in 2024. Silence from him for days. I checked on Leslie and my heart sank. He proposed. I invested so much into him. How do I get a return? I'm the best woman. How do I win him back? Ask the fan.
He was never hers to begin with.
I was saying, why do you want him back?
First of all,
Oh, dang. This is going to be strong. Go ahead.
first of all, she was never the baby mama. She was always the main chick. Old girl was actually the side chick.
Girlfriend slash baby mama.
Yeah, that was his main chick.
Yeah.
She was the side one.
Mhm.
So
But she's saying that she's invested so much more than what Leslie did. So she need her man back.
First of all, I would like for Amber to finish her thought because she sounded real chesty about this one.
I just want to get that out there.
Not chesty, but she invested, but was he invested in her? So you invested in somebody who hasn't showed you any type of interest.
So do you think he was just a munch, a user and abuser?
I'm sorry, or a munch?
Yeah, a moocher. I'm a moocher.
Oh, no, I like the word munch.
He probably took advantage of what was presented to him. So why not? If somebody is going to present, I'm going to do this and this and this, he took it.
So she described him as a lump of coal that I love and pressured into a diamond.
So she already knew what it was.
So this is where I'm at with it. She never described any type of intimacy, type of sexual relationship with him. This is where I'm willing to bet that happens. She's describing a fantasy relationship on her part. This is probably something this young man never even agreed to in the first place. Mm-hmm. But is he going to turn down all the resources? Probably not. That she was so willing to give up.
Was trying to be a good person and extending out help. So he probably looked at her as a friend.
Exactly. So she was probably in something imaginary in the first place. Right? I just, this to me, this is when we fail to ask questions and we make assumptions, when we just kind of sit back and assume that this is our place in these men's lives. If he didn't say it, profess it, then this is not what it is. And I'm sure he did not, because she never said so.
Right.
She just gave this laundry list of things that she provided. Girl, woman, you provide, wrong answer. Right?
But not anything that he provided or invested back into her.
Right. That's not a relationship.
It's one-sided.
Very much one-sided. So she's in this made-up relationship that he was thinking was a resource.
So let's go to her question. How do I get
I'm sorry.
How do I get a return, and how do I win him back? What would your answer to her question be?
Okay, I think everything that I said, and I don't want to speak for Amber, but I'm going to try. Take the L on this one, sis.
There's an L, a major L.
All right. Our next ask to fail.
I kind of like that one a bit.
I did too.
See? Okay. This is a female advice seeker who emailed us and CC'd her child's father, Brian, on the email, and he also responded.
Brian?
Yeah, Brian.
So it's the names that's already setting it up for me.
Go ahead.
Her question, she says, I plan to marry the man I'm with now. I have an 8-year-old daughter with Brian. Brian refuses to allow my daughter and my fiance to get to know one another. Brian has custody, but refuses to allow my child to stay overnight with me at our house. Got it?
No, because I had zoned out. Go ahead. Start over.
She says, I plan to marry the man I'm with now. I have an 8-year-old with Brian. Brian refuses to allow my daughter and fiance to get to know one another.
Okay.
Brian has custody, but refuses to allow my child to stay overnight with me at our house. Brian still wants me, but he didn't want me while we were together. It's too late now. So please help Brian understand that our child is about to have a new stepdad in her life, and he needs to allow them to spend more time together. Advice. His reply: Kim, I have one daughter. She's mine. I will protect her from your bad decisions. Exhibit A: Your fiance is an unemployed teacher because he had to register as a sex offender after he was caught with a student. Exhibit B: Your water is shut off.
This just
Where will
went
my,
left.
where will my child bathe? How are the two of you washing your asses? If you want to marry a funky pedo, go ahead. My daughter will not be a part of it. She says, Brian is just mad. Like I said, he wants me back. How do I resolve this?
But she never said those things that Brian said were untrue. Okay.
I
She
feel
just
like
said he
Cat
mad.
Williams
He want her
right
back.
here.
Go
Cat
ahead, Amber.
Williams.
You want to roll? Go ahead.
I'm really not, but I feel like this is a Cat Williams. Like, let the truth be known.
Because he
He
said him. I have.
he have. It sounds like he got some receipts, and so
But
if what Dad is saying is true, like I understand why.
He don't want her there.
Yeah, he protecting his child.
what was
Which
his question again?
it
His
was
question?
Kim's question.
It was
And
Kim's
he ain't
question.
nothing.
I said,
She
yes.
CC'd him in the email, and he responded. So her question is, he's mad. He still wants her back. How do I resolve this?
So let's
So
do
she's
this.
not denying or accepting what Brian said to
Well,
be true.
definitely, I feel as though we should try to get the water back on. Get your living situation as
That is important.
I'm going to need to make sure that her basic needs are being met
Being yeah.
just at the minimum. Now, I have a huge issue with this whole sex offender thing, and I'm struggling with, I don't know the levels of what happened with him being, I guess, fired, laid off, and being on the sex offenders list, right? Because there's levels to it. So I'm not going to sit
It
up here
is.
and say this dude molested somebody, right? Um, I just don't know the details, but I can see where Brian would be very
Hesitant.
careful, right, on
Because
having
for
this.
all we know, the girl could have been 18. He could have been like 25. Like, we don't know the backstory.
No, there's just so many levels to it, and it depends on the state and whatever happened, because there's a power dynamic. There's a teacher and there's a student, and well, if it's a sex offender, the child, this young lady was not 18 unless he raped her or something. So and it was a student. The student had to be underage.
Underage.
Had to be underage. And I know a lot of times, like if teachers sometimes do give students like their number, that's something that they can do, right? It's not out of their ethical boundary to do that. And so it could have been some type of inappropriate text. But I'm thinking if he got on the sex offenders list, it had to be something very close to egregious. So I'm just not quite sure.
But
I can see where Brian is like, nah.
oh, so you can also be on the sex offender list for like having sex with somebody else in public and just other people see you. Like, you can also.
But no, you said it was specifically because he had an inappropriate relationship with a student.
He was caught with a student. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's enough to be
Mhm.
freaking weird, right? So if you having sex with someone in a public place is totally different than
Then
using your power to have an inappropriate relationship with a student. I don't care if you are 22 and you just graduated and that's your first year as a teacher and this student is 17. age difference wouldn't really matter, but that's just a power dynamic and it's not okay.
Right.
So I would have an issue with his thought process, his decision making. So if I was Brian, I would not like that. I would need for that relationship to do what it's going to do for a while. I don't know how long Kim and the new boyfriend have been together, but as Brian, I'm gonna need to see. I'm gonna need to see.
Brian is the new boyfriend.
I'm sorry.
No, Brian's the ex. My bad.
Okay, right. I'm gonna need to see Kim in the new joint. I'm gonna see how that work out.
It need to be some visits
when I'm around.
Supervised
Yeah.
visits.
And if he's on the sex offenders list, he can't even be around children anyway.
Yeah.
So this is not even a thing.
But Brian already has custody of the girl. So what happened for Brian to get sole custody of her anyway?
The child's basic needs aren't being met. There's no water at the house.
Well, I'm saying more stuff probably was added to that.
Right. But if there's no water, there's a lot of other things going on. Kim is tacky.
So she's saying, Kim is asking, how do I resolve this?
Go get your shit together.
Because for her, Brian is just mad and he just want her back.
And I don't want to judge the new boyfriend or anything like that, because I think we spend enough time on judging him. However, because you have a young child, you really have to think about the men you bring into her life. And if it's a situation where he's on a sex offender list, you might need to reevaluate your decision. And I'm sorry that love connection cannot work, but it just can't work. That's my advice to her. This is another sis. Take the L. That's my advice. That's how you resolve that one.
Okay. So speaking of someone being unemployed, let's go to our workplace conversation.
Well, luckily, there was no one unemployed here.
Right.
Right. Because we made decisions to step away from those roles before it got a little bit worse than what it got. So thank you for that. So Black women in the workplace.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough one. Right? It's hard. What do y'all think? Do we need to take a collective breath?
I feel like we do.
Yeah.
Alex, you go since you're the youngest.
I might need some wine, but okay.
I'll drink up for you. You know I'm ready.
I feel like the workplace for a Black woman is very hit or miss. It's very much a gray scale of what we can and can't do, how we should and shouldn't behave, and how we should take on certain situations. And we can't do certain things as part of like our white coworkers can, because then we'll get looked at a certain way. And then we'll get doubled down and be judged. But yet let someone else do it, it's fine. So I feel like we have a lot on our shoulders when it comes to us being in a workplace, because we're like constantly kind of working on eggshells to make it through the day. I'm not upsetting someone, not using a firm tone and someone thinking that we're getting mad or we're getting loud or something like that. Like there's just so many complex parts to it that it could be a struggle just to make it. That's how
I agree. I think being a Black woman, a Black professional woman in a workplace, we have to present a certain way. We are steadily, I want to say, under a scope. So you have to show up and smile, jazz fingers. You can't be that angry Black woman, or you have attitude. You can't be, you can't isolate, or you have to be everybody's friend, or there's a problem because you don't want to be bothered, or you're not a team player because you don't want to be involved. So it's like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Right.
But I also want to kind of talk about other Black women in navigating other professional Black women, right?
Well, I wasn't ready
Because
for that one.
that is very it can be traumatizing as well. Um, I think sometimes you have some who, if they got there, then you have to struggle, and I'm not going to help you. I'm not going to tell you any direction. You need to figure it out.
What do you
Because
think that's
Whereas
about?
I
I don't know,
I
and to
I
me,
think some of it could kind of like stem from, especially like, okay, so I'm gonna take Amber for example. Amber worked hard to get where she's at, right? And if she goes into another spot and there's another woman who worked hard to get where she is, but she's at a higher standard than Amber. But Amber is still coming in every day, working, doing this. She asks this lady is observing it. She's seeing what Amber's doing. Right now, Amber is a threat, and unfortunately, we need to get better at this. Black women, we don't really necessarily know how to take threats well, because right now Amber is taking that girl's spot. So of course she's not going to be helpful to Amber. She's not going to lend out a helping hand because I fought to get here. I want to keep my spot. I want to keep my position. I'm not letting her take my spot.
whereas I see it as we all need to eat, so let's help each other out. Like let's both shine.
And
Um,
then, especially if like this make believe woman I'm speaking of, if she was the only Black woman in this workplace, to her she's kind of like top dog in it. And
Hmm.
so to have another one coming in, okay, like it should be like, all right, I see you, sis, but it's not like that.
not always.
Yeah, not always, but usually it's not like that.
So this whole thing to me is just straight culture shock from where I left. I have been retired from the military a little over 11 years. And I just don't remember this in the workplace. Now I do remember it being, tough as a Black woman, but for different reasons. And I don't want to speak for all Black women in the military, especially across services, because I'm pretty sure they experience different things in each service. So I'm going to speak for myself and maybe a few other women that I know I was close to in in a particular service. So yes, it was more. I experienced more sexist type
Se-
things,
Yeah.
Sexism.
right? More sexist type things, or more sexual harassment than I did. Oh, you're a Black woman type, right? I'm sure that it was in there, but it just didn't feel like it because. And another thing where you're talking about the lateral, where if there's another Black woman in the workplace, whether they're at the same level or a higher position than you, I never really experienced that because when you're a soldier and you're positioned a little bit high, you're positioned higher than someone, you want the people below you
Right.
to know everything so that you don't have to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't become a master sergeant so I can do the same thing that I was doing when I was a sergeant first class. So I want all my sergeant first class to know everything that I know, and I want all my staff sergeants to know everything they know, so I can just go sit back and we can all get accolades, and then we can all come home alive. So that's the name of the game. As when I turn into a civilian, I'm like, why everybody out here hating on each other?
And
Like,
out for themselves. Like
and out for
and
themselves. Culture shock.
And I will say too, speaking on personal experience, um, I work in a spot where there are two Black women at my job,
Mhm.
and the one lady, she wears kind of like the same, not the same attire, but pretty much the same attire every day because she knows it's comfortable. Everything is just it's plain Jane, right? But since I am younger than most of them, I can't wear certain things that like my other coworkers would because once I wear it, it will turn out to be, oh, that's too provocative or you're showing too much. I could be wearing the same exact thing,
Hmm.
But now, since it's on my body type and on me, it's a whole different situation.
And unfortunately, I had to work with my daughter like that at an early age when she was in high school, because she went to a PWI, and um, and you know what my daughter looks like physically. So she wore something similar to what a young white girl wore at the school. And there was nothing said to the young white girl, but it was something said to my daughter. And I almost had to agree with the administration, right? I didn't want to, but my explanation to her was, hey, you look kind of different. It's the same thing, but you pulling that off way different than that skinny little white girl. And those are the things that you got to look out for. Now,
Right.
unfortunately, I had to tell her she couldn't wear it to school. As an adult, I don't tell her those same things, out in public, but in the workplace, something similar. And not what she was wearing, but how she was acting,
Hmm.
killing her job, right? Always getting accolades. But the one thing they came out to her and said, hey, we need for you to smile more.
Hmm.
And I remember having this conversation. And she's like, what do they want me to do? She says, everybody, all the clients love me and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. They tell me I'm doing a great job and they talk about me smiling. And so I had to give her the Black woman in the workplace talk. Because if we're not smiling, we must have an attitude. If we're not
Yep.
smiling, something must be wrong with us. If we're not smiling, we're not engaging. We just got to walk around here like this all the time so that they can feel comfortable. And we had a deeper conversation, and she said to me, well, mommy, that's not fair. And I said, well, buckle up, because it's not getting ready to be fair. And
I said,
this is just the beginning.
I can't even count on two hands how many times I have walked into work. Just, nothing's wrong, but I'm not, like you said, I just walk in, good morning, sit down, unwind a little bit before I have to go to class. Are you okay? What's wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me if something's wrong. I'm fine. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
sitting here.
Mm-hmm.
I remember not participating once
Oh
in
my
a uh employee or staff potluck,
gosh.
and it was a problem because I wasn't considered a team player because I didn't want to participate in a potluck.
Yeah. And I know these are very small things, but it's part of a bigger problem. And Amber, I know some of the things that you encountered at a couple of your jobs, and you know what I counted in my last one. And it was pretty substantial, to where I had to either stay
Mm-hmm.
and do what I love and still be um or still have to deal with the two white women in the workplace. Actually, there were three. Or, I would just have to leave. And at first I felt that if I left, that I was quitting and that I was letting them win. And that's what made me hold on. But I knew that my mental health could not take it any longer. It was one of those things where, there were lies, there
Mm-hmm.
was things behind my back, and I'm not making this up. I'm not making this up. And a lot of it came from, I did a good job. That's all I did. I did my job and I did it well, and I was punished for it. And it made me feel horrible that I had to leave that job and that no one did anything about it and everybody knew about it. And it was hurtful, right? And I think even though I moved on and I'm happy, it still it sent me into a depression. Like, why does this even happen? Why do I even bother? Will this continue? And so it it was just I didn't want to do this because I'm getting pissed off as we speak. But
But
it's
I
been
see what
2.5 years.
I see what you're saying though, because like I know for certain I don't get as paid as much as my other coworkers at this one said job,
You don't get
but
what?
paid as
Hey,
much,
Okay.
but I do just as much work as
Mm-hmm.
them, then go above and beyond. And my all the students love me there. They tell me everything pretty much. So it's kind of like frustrating. Like you want me to keep this up, you want me to keep doing what I'm doing, pay me for it. And so then at this other job that I'm at, it's um I'm always the go-to person for trouble clients, the clients that give everybody a hard time. I'm always that dedicated person that they give people to, which, yes, I don't have a problem with it, but at the same time, why? Because like, why do I have to turn into that angry black woman and tell these people, yeah, no, we're not doing this right now?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can do it, but it should be, you guys should be able to do that too.
Yeah.
I think one of the situations or challenges I've had working with non-melanated women is there has been times where, if I said what I said, I'm looked at as aggressive or, not a team player, but they can say what they said and come out with the tears, and they get all the empathy, and they are the victim and I'm the villain. Um, so kind of, I've been in the field for over 25 years, right? I've been working for a long
You
time, and
own.
I am. But I've worked with the government, I've worked in private sector, and so, one thing I am kind of hopeful for is that seeing that there is a lot of more Black women having this conversation that we're having now,
Yeah.
and they're having these conversations in the workplace. You're seeing a lot of people doing that DEI work where there's certain um, organizations and agencies that are trying to kind of like hush it, but people are realizing that it's needed, because there's a need for inclusivity and equity and diversity. One thing we didn't touch on, that I always hear a lot about too, is colorism in regards to the workplace and Black women and how we treat each other.
Wow.
And yeah,
Is that
um,
a thing? I mean,
it's
I
a
don't.
thing. It's a thing. It's a thing. It's hurtful because I think I was oblivious to it because, our family is the rainbow. um, but our family is a bunch of women who they taught us to help each other and help the next person. So
Mm-hmm.
I think having the women in our family who teach us that and then go out in the world and see that it's not the same way, it's kind of like a what? What? I'm not used to
Yeah.
this.
Mhm.
So I think that has been a major thing for me. But one thing I've been trying to do, I've been mentoring other younger Black women who are professionals and trying to teach them like, okay, whatever you know or whatever you learn, you pass it on to the next person.
Mhm.
And then if you get more information or you get more knowledge, you still pass that information on. So that information is keep being passed on. It's something that our ancestors taught us is, you got to keep the story alive, right?
Right.
So for us to know each other, our history, you got to tell the story.
Right.
You got to repeat the story to the next generation and the next generation. And we lost that. So that's one thing that I've been trying to do when, as a mentor is kind of provide that information so they can provide that information to the next generation. Because I can't we can't do it all by ourselves. So that's a better way to get the masses more knowledgeable and more working together cohesively.
I
And
will say, I'm sorry, Alex. I will say that going through my issue at my last job, I let them see my tears. I had to. I just, you know what? I get to see yours and you get to play the little game, but this time I'm hurt. Y'all hurt me. And
mhm.
I'm going to go ahead and cry. And I'm going to let you see it. Don't ask me what's wrong because you knew good and fucking well what's wrong, right? But I will say that the African American women in my workplace stood by me, like they supported me. Like, you know, I did have a listening ear. If Shelby ever hears this, she was there. She let me come in her room and cry, right? Friend Rissa, she let me come in there and cry. And I never, ever cry at work. I cried at work one time when I was in the Army, and my platoon sergeant wore me out, and it never happened again. So for me to do that was a lot because that's how hurtful it was. And so with that, Amber, you talked about supporting each other, passing our stories down and learning from each other, DEI, stuff like that. What do you think when we encounter these situations in work? What's the best way to tackle that? And I don't even like to use the word tackle because that just feeds into the word aggression, right? Do we report? How do we find support? And I don't know. I just want to Karenize some shit. Like they get to do it.
With the situation I was telling y'all off camera, I feel like that's what I'm gonna have to do.
What, Karenize some shit?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm full blown ready to do it.
I regret not Karenizing some shit. I regret. I think if I had any regrets, I did it after I walked away. I ran my mouth. I was like, bop, 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 bop. You know, I wasn't asked to give an exit interview. I just volunteered one. Shit, y'all gonna hear all this, right? And I want to be clear, if anybody ever sees this, it was not my actual company that I worked for. I was contracted out to a school, so it was not that company. I love that company. It's getting very diverse. They do care about their therapists and teachers and coaches and all that stuff. So it's not them. It was definitely that school that I worked for, more specifically that program. So I just wanted to be clear if anybody ever hears that out there in the world that I live in, that I am not talking about that wonderful white woman that was my supervisor. Not her. It was the other one. It was the other ones. I just want to be clear. I'm not going to say her name, but you know who she is. All right.
Cracking up. I think one way for us to kind of work through it is therapy. I started therapy a couple years ago. A therapist have a therapist, right? And so to navigate through some of the things that I had been dealing with work, I needed my own support. And not only that, I have mentors that are in the professional field who kind of help navigate and help guide me through some of these situations. And they were they was there. They was ready. They gave me advice.
Right.
I think I laid on your couch a couple of times, and I think I cried on my mother's couch, and I cried in the car a couple of times, and I called my sister a couple of times and had moments. Had a couple of colleagues who, became friends that I, could count on who guided me. So I had a great support system, and I think that is the important part, having a great
Yeah.
support system.
Yeah. I did have a lot of support. Like I think I got to you before you got to me. And so you were a big part of like my transition up out of there. You know, I had to make a decision. And so I think speaking up and being okay with saying, hey, I'm not okay. Like this hurt. Like we don't always have to be tough even in this area right here. And I think this is the wrong area to stay tough in because it's about time to say enough is enough. We're hurting. You hurt me. You all need to be better at how you work with us. I don't want to say handle. I don't like that word, but how you work with us, right? I'm not saying that. I'm not asking for you to change your whole model of how you work with people, but just know that I am an individual being just like everybody else, and you should treat me as such. And so
I'm gonna give you another word instead of the handle. We always show up for work, and we show up to do perfection and be professional. I need them to show up as well for us, emotionally, mentally.
Emotionally and mentally. Yeah. If I'm in here doing the work, how about you provide? And I said, about the agency that I worked for, they did their best to retain me. They did their best to provide me what I needed. It's just that, and I'm gonna say this too, I was too afraid to stay on board because they were gonna put me in another position, right? But I was too afraid, and I will admit right now, I am afraid to go back to a 9 to 5. I am, because I don't know how they gonna act out here. I'm peaceful. I'm bored working by myself, but I'm peaceful. I don't have to deal with all that BS. Because I have clients now who are coming to session and it's hard for me to listen to this, right? That's why I love that you said therapy. That's why I have to have my own therapy, because if I don't, I have to listen to it and get triggered over and over and over. It's like being traumatized over and over and over again when you listen to these stories about what's happening in the workplace with women of color. It's re-traumatized. Alex, you got all of this. What's happening?
She holding it.
Because I traumatized my therapist. I know I do.
I don't think you do. Therapists hear a lot of stuff, and the stuff you're bringing, I feel like you're not making her flinch at all.
No, but she be coming for me.
Well, that's what she's supposed to do. Is it working? Because you keep going back.
It is.
So are we liking our therapists? Are we liking therapy out here, y'all? Is it working?
I've had 3 therapists in my entire 28 years of living.
Okay.
And I loved all 3 of them. The first one I had was, I was dealing with I was in high school, just moved to Pittsburgh. I hated anything and everyone. So my parents put me into therapy and figured out
I didn't know that.
Put me in therapy, and then all of a sudden he was like, okay, you know what, we're going to do family therapy. That's how we started off with the tradition of every Sunday, we had a family dinner. And we did game nights. That's how that whole that's why I'm really into game nights.
Okay,
now.
Is that why you always come with the games?
So that's a factor that I've always brought with me. Unfortunately, my dog got arrested, so I had to stop seeing him. And then
who got arrested? The therapist?
Therapist.
Oh, yo, for real? I don't even want to know why, but go ahead.
I'll tell you after. But free him. So I stopped therapy for a while, and I didn't go back to Amber, my sister, was my therapist. You were my therapist, because I would go to you two and my mother about and Trayvon. You 4 were my therapist. I would go to you guys about any and everything. And then I asked one, I would have to ask another one just to make sure I get the same answer. And if I didn't, I'll ask a third person who have majority votes gets the ruling.
I would say, were you just asking to hear what you wanted to hear, but you just wanted to get a consensus?
Maybe. So then, my second therapist was right after my father had passed away. His job offered us therapy, so me and my mom and my brother took it. Me and my mom stayed with her, and we were with her for about a year and a half. But I loved her, but she was just kind of, I need a more consistent week by week schedule.
Because we see what happened when you miss a week.
I saw her maybe like once a month, if that.
Oh wow.
That wasn't working for me. My new therapist now, baby, Lima sees my ass once a week, but she tried to play me this month and put me in 2 times a month, and that ain't working for me.
Well, you know why she did that?
Because she
you
felt
know,
like you're doing better.
yeah, and the real work is actually done outside of therapy. You
I
don't
don't
need to do it every
care.
week. You are not in
I
crisis.
want to see her every week. I need to
Alex,
vent.
you are
There are
not in
things on my
crisis.
chest that girl, I was about to be.
But that's a testament to y'all's relationship, that you want to see her every week and that she's really doing a good job holding space, that you want to be there. But no, Alex, most therapists kind of back off of weekly after a while because you're not in crisis.
Well, no, I am though, because we haven't even scratched the surface on a lot of things. Like we're still,
Okay. Our
like we're
our our
still
our,
like,
our definition of crisis is very different. Okay. Because honestly, I would like to see my therapist once a week, and half the time I don't have nothing to talk about. But I know that I need to be able to get myself together on my own.
and every time she sees me, she's like, "Oh, I'm so proud of you." No, I still need to see you once a week, Alima.
You know,
You're not understanding here. Like,
I can understand the feeling of feeling like you're being broken up with your therapist, because for the longest time as a therapist, you start with like a weekly, then you go bi-weekly, and then you might say, oh, every 3 weeks or once a month, then every other month, and then I'm phasing out. And I used to tell clients, like, I'm working myself out of a job. That's the goal. Until I got my, not the current therapist, my last therapist. She let me go back. My first therapist I ever had was when I was in college and at a PWI, and she was non-melanated. It lasted all of one session, not even the whole session, because she didn't understand me. I felt
you cut her
I
off like that?
felt dismissed. Um and I felt like she couldn't understand a lot of cultural nuances. It was just kind of like so after that I was like, I will never do therapy again, blah blah blah. But fast forward, when my dad died, our dad died, um I went to therapy because I was like, you know what? I have grief. I need to figure this shit out. So I had my first Black woman therapist, and I had her for about 4 years, and she was amazing. Because not only did she help me get through grief, but she helped me get through a lot of that work dynamic that I was going through, and all just life. And she challenged me. She called me out on my bullshit. And as a therapist, I feel like, I think sometimes we feel like we don't have bullshit, but we have bullshit too. And she called me out and made
Girl.
me do and made me do better. And then I had my current one. She's pretty much the same way. So having the two dynamic Black women therapists who challenges you, but also see you, hear you, but get when I say this nigga.
How do you guys feel about the stereotype that therapy has on the Black community?
I think it sucks, and it keeps us from being healthy. But I will say, we are doing better.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are doing better. We are coming into therapy. These brothers are coming into therapy. These young Black boys are coming into therapy, right? And they are trying to do the work, right? Even if they call and don't show up, they are in one of those first stages of change. You know what I'm saying? They're in pre-contemplation. You know what I'm saying? Like it's getting better. Like, because I had no idea about therapy coming up. I knew there was a guidance counselor, but I didn't know what they did, right? But I had no idea there was this thing called therapy other than on TV. And the only time I ever saw it, it was with white people.
Same.
My mom tried to send me to my guidance counselor. No, the school sent me to my guidance counselor.
Well, guidance counselors, unfortunately, get stuck with things outside of sitting with kids doing therapy. And because they go to the same schools that we do, LPCs, they go to the same thing. They just kind of branch off and take a different test, right? And they do a couple other different things. And so they get stuck up with testing and scheduling and, so they end up doing referrals and stuff. But there are guidance counselors who are LPCs who can do the work. They just don't have time to do the work, so they outsource it.
Yeah, they tried to send me to therapy after my mama gripped me up in high school. Because they thought
that's not what we're here for.
But
that's not what we're here for today. We are not shaming mothers who grip us up in school.
I'm not shaming her. I'm just saying the school tried to put me against my mama, and I was like, listen, she should.
See, her mistake was she should have her mistake was she should have gripped your ass up off of school grounds. See, I politely went to.
First of all, her mistake was not believing me when I told her what I said. That was her first mistake. Her second mistake was not waiting until we got off the school grounds. She should have waited until I was in her car.
Right. So what I did was when they called me to the school, I asked for some time alone with my daughter in the room, and I quietly told her, I said, when I get in the fucking car, it's gonna be me and you. And then I signed her out from school, and I said, thank you all for your concern. I'll take it from here. And I signed her out, and we left the white people there at in the school. And then we drove off school grounds, but we never made it to the military installation because I did not want to put my hands on her there either, because that's a different type of jail, right? And so we pulled over in the parking lot of the Dairy Queen.
Ooh. What did she do?
I'm not gonna say what she did. I didn't put my hands on her. I did not. I wanted to.
I'm curious now.
After party. That's an after party one. And just to be clear, she was only like, I think she might have been like in the 6th grade. So, anyway.
Yeah, I was in 9th, I think.
Yeah, I definitely did not want to do anything on school grounds, and I did not want to do it before we got back on post. I just made sure I got off of school grounds, pulled over before we got on post to say what I had to say. And if she had said anything out her mouth sideways, I probably would have put my hands on her. But I didn't, because I'm not that person. However, speaking of therapy, I do want to give my therapist a shout out real quick. She is my third therapist. I have never had a therapist of color. I'm explaining why, so don't judge me. My first 2, actually my first 3, were paid for by the military, right? And I just went to who was provided for me the first 2 times, even my marriage counselor. So it wasn't like I had a lot of choices. These were the ones who were provided for me. They got me through whatever I needed to get through. It was more brief treatment than it was long-term treatment. And I landed on the therapist I'm with now only because insurance issues. Not a lot of people took TRICARE at the time. TRICARE was being really tough on who they credentialed as therapists. They were being real tight. Now they're not as much. And so I had to get what I can get. There wasn't a lot of Black therapists who took TRICARE, and if they did, they were full. So, and if you might know what TRICARE is, that's the commercial insurance for the military. Anyway, but I like my therapist. I low-key, I don't want to say this because she might look at this one day. I never asked her, but I feel like her husband might be Black. And if he's not, I don't know. She's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd be telling you about her. She
calls you out on your bullshit.
I just be like, She called me all on my stuff. And if I have to explain anything cultural to her, it's very quick. She ain't slow with it. Like, oh my God. Like she got it. Right. And so it's not a bad experience. And when I tell you I've been with her for 7 years, and she got me through the crisis of being bullied at the school. When I say bullied, I mean as an adult working in an environment bullied by the white folks. And she let me go off on the white folks as the white folks. When I tell you she stick with her ethical shit in those sessions, I don't know what she say about me when I leave, but if I say I don't trust the white folks, she just be like, okay. She with the shits with it too. You know what I mean? And so we all right. But she has been awesome. She had to cancel our last session because she wasn't feeling very well. She's got something going on. So once again, get well soon, because see, I had stuff to talk about this week. And now by the time I talk to her again, it'll be a whole month. And I just, but I'm using my skills. I'm using my words. I'm going to be okay. And I can go in there and tell her I'm trying. And that's all I can do.
That's
Shout
it.
out to our therapists.
No, for real. They out here working hard.
They are.
Yeah. And I think therapists, they do the best they can. They have their days when they're on, and they have their days when they're off. And so God bless all of them.
A lot of days when they're off.
So God bless all of them. And I know there's a lot of work to be done out here, especially since the pandemic. And I just, shout out to all the therapists out there for just working hard and listening to the shit.
And shout out to all the Black people that's finally going to go see therapists.
Yeah, and just period. Anybody who out here trying to get it right, because like we
this is a melanated conversation. Keep it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Cat Williams said what she said.
Let's keep it melanated. No, for real, they are in therapy. Like, Black women are in therapy.
Yeah, they are.
Black men are in therapy. There are Black men who are in therapy in their 20s, in their 30s, struggling with seeing those ones in their 40s and 50s though.
They there.
You see them? Good. Mm-hmm. Okay, long as they're doing it.
And barriers are being broken down. People are creating boundaries.
Yes,
people
I'm
understand.
very proud of us for breaking generational curses, which can be another topic for another day.
I'm so worn out by generational curses.
Because I got a lot on that.
And they're gentle parenting. I love it.
Soft
do
parenting.
you was that a topic? Because listen, I got one. I think I'm gonna try to get
generational curses, soft parenting versus how we grew up.
I'm gonna try to get my child in on this one, because we were supposed to do this one on another channel, and I'm gonna try to get her. I'm gonna try to tap her in on this one.
Yes,
because I want to hear her thoughts on the bullshit.
I was about to say, that we need to bring our parents into this?
Yes.
No, I'm not bringing
parenting.
I'm not bringing no boomer into this conversation, because they different.
Real different.
They different. And look, my mom more boomer than your mom, so I definitely ain't finna ask her to come in here.
But that's good though, because they were the ones that, if first of all, if there was any generational curse, we were getting it from them, and then second of all,
so we going there.
Yes, we are. And second of all, they did the hard parenting. We're in the generation now, well, not so much y'all, but I guess kind of y'all on the cusp, where it's like still hard parenting versus soft parenting. Where me, I'm more soft parent. We'll see how that goes, but
can we talk about the name or the term generational curse? I am so sick of hearing that. This is not a curse.
It's generational trauma.
We just doing shit that we've seen.
Generational trauma.
We just doing shit that we've seen.
Monkey see, monkey do.
Right. Whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent. We're not cursed.
No.
No, I know we're not, but that's the term. So we could talk about all that.
I'm ready. That's a good one because I'm sick of it. And I'm sick of are we raising, have we raised some punks?
Ooh.
And I reserve that word for the soft. I just want to be clear. I reserve that word for the soft.
Are you guys considered millennials?
No, I'm a Gen X. I'm nowhere near a millennial.
Right.
Amber might be closer. I think she might be on the line.
Closer.
Yeah.
I'm closer to it.
I'm
but
a millennial. And then Lexi will be considered a Gen Z.
Depends on what damn chart you look at.
Yeah.
Nicole is a millennial.
She fits right in there. Nowhere around it.
It's like I'm like some charts, like you said, I'm like the cut off.
Yeah, you made the cutoff. Alexa, depends on what chart you look at. Right. But I would tell you, she functions more like a millennial, but she got a Gen X soul. She functions like a millennial, but she got a Gen X soul. I'd be surprised a lot sometimes the way she thinks. Yeah, that part. Ladies, okay. What do y'all need this week? It's Sunday. I'm gonna go ahead and see what Patrick Mahomes is doing. The Lions just won. It was they said the last time the Lions were in an NFC championship, you couldn't even text that the Lions won because there was no texting capability. That's how long ago it was. I don't even want to talk about the last time the Browns were in the AFC championship. So I think that was the 80s.
Yeah.
I don't even think we had cell phones or car phones.
I feel like we're gonna get there soon now.
We didn't even have car phones.
Y'all keep hope alive.
You at home too, so stop, Steelers fan.
Yeah, I am.
I mean, at least y'all had one. At least y'all had one in the 2000s. At least y'all had one in the 2000s. So I'm not gonna be a hater.
But we're talking about y'all's team right now.
Well, no, actually, we're talking about the Lions. And so let me check this score here. Let me see what Patrick Mahomes is doing. Let's see what we got here. Oh, the Bills are up. I'm kind of liking Josh Allen.
Kind of win.
I'm kind of liking Josh Allen. We need something different. I like Patrick Mahomes, but the way they was looking this year is a little sus. I like Josh Allen's story. I think that against
just don't want to see Taylor Swift anymore. I'm tired of seeing Taylor Swift at games.
And you know what's the problem? You know what the issue is? It's not Taylor Swift. It's the media in Taylor Swift. Like I'm okay with her. I have no problem with Taylor Swift. Mm-hmm. They are making you dislike her.
They are a lot.
Right? I can't really identify a lot of Taylor Swift songs. Like I know a couple from back in the day. I am not mad at her as a musician, as an artist. She's super talented, so I have no problem with her. It's just that they did the most. The NFL did the most. Like, let it go.
I think they were trying to get a certain type of audience.
What audience? You making billions off of us watching.
About football. Another topic we could talk about is this halftime show that they planning because
it's Usher. Who else?
And no, 2 other people just got added.
What you mean? How come Usher can't have it by himself?
It's Usher. I just looked it up.
First of all, the best halftime show just was 2 years ago with Snoop.
Oh yeah,
Dr. Dre. I that right there was a surprise, and I just thought it was so fun. Was it Kendrick Lamar, Mary J. Blige, 50 Cent? It was just awesome. They had the essays out there, crip walking, like what, like where, like they got away with that.
Oh, it's Post Malone, Reba McEntire.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, Reba McEntire's opening up. She's doing the anthem.
Okay. This is the lineup: Post Malone, Reba McEntire, Usher, and Andre Day.
Yeah, okay, so I think Usher is just doing the halftime show. Reba
Okay.
McEntire is opening. Audra Day, first of all, love her. No, Audra Day? No, I thought we were talking about Audra McDonald. Wait a minute. What's Audra Day getting ready to sing?
I think
I only
she's
know one song by
singing
her.
the anthem.
But Reba's doing that.
No, Reba's, they do 2 songs. I can't remember.
Oh, she's singing "Lift Every Voice and Sing." You know, they added that.
How y'all feel about that?
When is it gonna add this?
Like last year. It's super patronizing.
Yeah.
It's extra.
Y'all a little too late, first of all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
y'all didn't let Colin Kaepernick back in the league, and now y'all want to give us that. It's just not. It's not.
It's like the workplace conversation just pissed me off. Like I'm done.
Like they're so patronizing. It's not helpful to anyone. We didn't need to share that with the world. I like having it at our own little shit. I love that song. I don't know all the words, the 3 stanzas.
All these other people, non-melanated people. Oh, I know that song. I'm singing it. Shut up.
They didn't even know it existed.
Right. Like they. Okay.
And it's like 3 stanzas. Everybody we stumble over the first one.
Do the first one.
Yeah,
we do the first one.
We stumble over the first one, but we be blowing, don't we?
I don't stumble. I know those words.
I was saying I could do the first one. That second verse.
Listen, but funny though. I went growing up in Cleveland, the first part of my school. You know, I went K through 4th grade in Cleveland, and I didn't even know the regular national anthem until I came into the military, because we had to know that first stanza in Cleveland. I lived on the east side, right? This is just my memory, right? And at every dang what do you call it? Like if we had something in the auditorium or whatever, we had to sing that song. We had to know that song, that first stanza of the Black National Anthem, and they meant that shit. I had to come home and practice. Show up and don't know it. Yeah, this big old sister on the piano. Hit it, boom, 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 and then we all singing. Hey, and we still had busing going on too. And so you see the 2 little white kids in the back, they was singing. It was still some busing going on around that time. They were singing too. Then I don't think they knew what they were singing, but we were singing. But I don't know. We sung that at every program. So anyway, so what do y'all need? We head into the week. It's Sunday. What do y'all need?
I think I need sleep and more time. This week has kind of drained me, and I
started
Friday
back for school.
Yeah, and so I've been since Friday evening. I've been posted in my bed. Yesterday, I was supposed to be doing notes. I didn't do crap. I binged watch Ugly Betty all day.
You talk about avoiding. You went way back. That was like 10 years ago. That was like more like 13 years ago.
I don't think I've ever watched Ugly Betty.
I watched it. I watched it. I just didn't watch the last season. That's how I remember it was like. It went off around 2010, 2011. I didn't ever watch the last season because I was deployed. Okay, I need for this week to just be over. Like I don't want to rush January, but I want to rush January. I'm looking forward to just getting through my clients, and I'm looking forward to Tuesday doing some administration work because I have a lot of things I need to do, and which is gonna lead me to another Friday for admin work, and then I think I'm some more DIY. So I just need some more consistency. Last week was all over the place in preparation for my mother's knee replacement surgery.
Alex, what you need?
I need cash money in hand. And I need something I ain't gonna sell.
So in light of it being a lot of snow and stuff like that, are you saying you need some vitamin D?
I am. Vitamin D, vitamin C. First of all, I'm a summer baby for one. I need my sun. I feel like I look like a pasty ass person right now, and I don't like it. So I'm not liking this right now.
Yeah, I'm not pasty.
I just feel like I'm not losing my color,
mhm.
but in wintertime you look a little. That's what I'm looking like right now. I need my bronze, sun-kissed skin. Like this is not for me at all.
And I need to cuff a little bit.
Huh?
I need to cuff a little bit.
Yes.
It just yeah.
Let's say so. Hey, okay.
It's
That's
good.
fine.
It's good, y'all. We're going a little bit over time, and so we will let's head into the after party because I'm actually kind of sleepy. Oh, did y'all see my meal that I made today? I went country as hell.
No,
Was
I'm
that
about to cook
fish?
right now.
I did. You didn't see it because you kind of rolled your eyes. I did spaghetti and fried catfish.
Oh yeah. I saw that because you were like, "Well, we're eating unhealthy." Yes, I saw
And
that.
that's why I rolled my eyes, because what is unhealthy about it? It's spaghetti and catfish.
Right.
No, I didn't put it in the air fryer. It was fried, like I dipped it in grease. The spaghetti, the spaghetti was healthy because the noodles were made with with chickpeas, so they were fine. But I got to keep my life together. I'm getting old, y'all. I just can't be out here eating all willy nilly and shit.
As Aggie said, I've been eating willy nilly, and I'm 95 years old, so I'm good.
Well, clearly our genes is, our genes and our metabolism set up different. Because I've seen Agnes's plate, I've seen her plates. I can look at her plate and gain 5 pounds.
She'll eat, and in 30 minutes, eat the whole thing. 35 minutes later, I'm hungry.
Yeah,
I want dessert.
Right.
I've seen her plate. I think it's something with maybe her metabolism. I think that's that down south. That's that Ocklawaha, Georgia, Thomasville, Georgia shit. I really do. That did not catch hold to the rest of us. Yeah, it didn't stick. Because my grandmother didn't.
Northerners.
Yeah, because my grandmother didn't gain a lot of weight either. You know what I mean? Her aunt. My grandmother, well, she wasn't a huge eater, but she didn't really gain a lot of weight. Her same weight has been. How in the hell? Anyway.
And they don't exercise, but
she does exercise.
Irregardless.
Blessings.
All right, y'all. I'm gonna hit y'all over here on the after party, and I'll see y'all next week.